Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. Having a few thunderstorms here, so I hope the power holds out and we don't get any power outages. I haven't heard a lot of thunder and lightning. It's raining, but I haven't heard a lot of thunder and lightning, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that
it's already gone by us.
Yeah, it'll. I think the biggest part of it went by us too. So it was like a line just to cross Florida almost from east to west. It looked pretty much like that. But anyway, so glad to have, and our special guest tonight is Mr. Steve Good. We haven't had him on for a while. We'll let Steve Good introduce himself last, and the first person that says you can find me here and it doesn't introduce themselves, I'm going to politely just kick you out of the show. So, yeah, we did, Steve, about 2 weeks ago. Where can we find you? You can find me right here on the show. And I'm like, everybody was doing it. And I'm like, oh, guys, come on, give me a break. So if y'all want to go this direction, not a problem. So, Donald, do you want to start out?
I'm Donald Matthews. My YouTube channel is Donald Vlogifies Woodshop. You can find me there, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I also have a website called redneckknowhow.com. And other than that, you can find me here on the show.
What a role model.
Chris.
Hey, gang. Chris here at the Old Cranky Workshop. You'll find me on YouTube and Facebook. And that's the only platforms I use because I'm too lazy to learn the other ones.
Paul.
My name is Paul Corliss. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram. You can find me on Sundays watching Al's stream. You can find me here on Saturday evenings if Russ has a show. Thank you.
But do you like green eggs and ham?
Yes, I do.
Donna.
Donna Presley, Donna's Wooden Art, Donna's Embroidery Plus. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and I just got a TikTok. I ain't figured it out yet, but I got 3 weeks before I can do anything. Anyway, just you can message, you can YouTube, whatever. I'll answer any of it, really.
All right, and my wife.
No.
My wife is still looking for the towel.
Okay.
Yeah, like she only has weekends, so but she wants a really nice towel. So I told her you're the holdup. It's not me any longer. Although I've had the shirts for 3 months, I think.
At least.
Yeah, at least 3 months. So
well,
all right.
The next 3 weeks we're in the process of selling Mother's house, so we got to get everything out, have an estate sale, and have everything done for the closing on the 8th. So,
yeah. Well, we're the shirts for the Clarity Construction we'll probably let me look at the calendar here real quick. Okay, the third Sunday of every month I do security, so I think next Sunday I do security. So she's got between now and then to find the towel because I want to send everything out on the 22nd. The only thing that I need back, you've got 3 weeks. The only thing I really need back is the one shirt that says Willow Oak Baptist Church. I want security put on the other side. That's the only thing I need back. The rest of it, if it takes you 6 months, I don't care.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The only thing I need back is because every third week I do security at our church. So, and they're too cheap to have security put on the shirts. So, and actually, no, they ordered all the shirts and whoever ordered them forgot to put security on them. So it's no big deal. So, all right, Dixon.
I'm Dixon Hoffman. You can find me at hoffmansignsandDecals.com, and there's my email address.
Al.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Simply Wooden Creations. Let's Talk Shop with Russ. And I'm Al Forte. I'm one of the panel members. I can be located at Kilroy 79763, all over the web, all over the YouTubes, as one of the guys out there says. Anyway, I can be found on Twitch, Kilroy 79763. I even think if you search YouTube, Kilroy 79763. I stream Sundays, 2 p.m., Kilroy 79763 on Twitch. And come on by. I'm working on, I don't know, wood stuff.
That's Central Time, 3 o'clock real time.
Yeah.
Making these little earrings that I'm not certain how they're going to go, but have a new laser. Been playing with that a lot. Thus, Steve, that's why the question. But anyway, other than that, I can be found here.
Yeah. All right. Before Steve let Steve introduce, and the reason I want to do that this way is because before I forget, a very good friend of ours, he's always on. I don't know if he's out there tonight. I haven't had a chance to really look at the chat that much, but a very good friend of ours, the whole panel, a lot of people. He's a maker in the community, and he's usually out there in our chat. His name is
Jimbo by chance?
No, it's Steve Nealand.
Oh, Steve.
His mother is in hospice, and they're not expecting her.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Be very long. There's no other way to put it other than she doesn't have a long time, and so somebody has created a GoFundMe page for him and for his family to help with funeral costs and other costs that are absorbed that insurance is not going to pay for. So it's on my Facebook page. It's on Steve Nealand's Facebook page. If you want the link, I'll try to put the link in below in this video so y'all can see it. I would appreciate it. Like I said, he's a heck of a guy. He's on here all the time. I don't expect him to be on here tonight. He may pop in or may not. But like I said, his mother's not doing very good. So if you can, help him out and go over there to his GoFundMe page. If you go to Russell E. Clarity or I don't think I put it on Simply Wooden Creations, but I can put it on Simply Wooden Creations too. And just click on it and help him out if you can afford to. I try to help everybody out that I can, and he's just, I know him and he's a friend of mine. And so I just want to try to help him out. So anyway, so Mr. Good, I hate to start with you on a bad note, but if I don't say that, I'll never forget it, or I'll forget it before the show's over.
At that age where memories more important.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my prayers to Steve Nealand. I know.
Yes.
My wife and I just recently went through the loss of my mother-in-law, so I understand it's a really tough situation. And for me, my mother-in-law was a saint. So anyway, we missed her a lot. I'm Steve Good. For those, it looks like you've got a pretty good crowd here. Russ, looks like 29, something like that, watching. So
yeah,
it's been so long since I've been on here. I don't know if any of them know who I am or not, but what I do is I'm a scroll saw pattern creator, and I create a blog called the Scrollsaw Workshop, which you can find at scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com. I also have videos on YouTube under SD Good, and that's pretty much the social media that I have time to mess with. So I don't do Facebook because it's just, I can't keep up. So email me if you have a question. I'm always happy to do that. And I've known Russ now for 87 years, something like that.
It's been a long time.
I always appreciate him having me on. I always have a lot of fun. So look forward to, if anybody has any questions or anything tonight, or just wants to know what I do, I'm happy to talk about it.
Actually, I called you 2 weeks ago and left a message. You never returned my call.
Let me explain something to you, Russ. I don't know that. If you saw what I deal with every day, you'd know.
Oh, I know. You don't have to say anything. How many grandchildren do you have?
I don't have any grandchildren.
Yeah. Well, we have 15 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren, so we stay busy. So, And actually, right now, my grandson, my son wanted to take his wife out. I'll get it straight in a second. My son wanted to take his wife out to dinner tonight before Mother's Day because they have 3 little ones. And so therefore we are watching the 3 little ones this afternoon. And right now my wife's stuck out there in the living room with all 3 little ones by herself. So as soon as if they haven't got here before 9 o'clock, we're going to end the show right at 9 o'clock. I can tell you.
I hate to sound like I'm complaining because I like being busy. You know, you don't want to run a business and not be busy. That's bad. So,
Right.
But it's generally 300 emails a day, which I answer about 50 emails. So, and then the rest of the design and the patterns, all that adds up to where my wife forgot my name last week. That kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
I have to be pretty careful. And the great thing is, since we've moved back here to Southern Indiana, which is where all of our family is, things that we had not been able to do our whole life, like go to the Little League and go to the track meets and all that stuff with all the nieces and nephews, kids, and all that stuff, has just been such a unique experience for us because we've never been able to do that living, about 2 hours away. So that's been a lot of fun.
When you told me you were moving back, I thought that was a fantastic idea. Yeah, because you get to be with family. Yeah, I mean, instead of 2.5 hours away, you're 20 minutes away. So,
and the house that I'm in right now is the 50th house I've lived in my life. So I've moved a lot. So I don't really have a place that feels like home because we moved constantly when I was younger. And so now this actually, for the first time, I think in my life, feels like home. Because my wife's older sister, she also retired after we got back. So we go to the movies, and it's kind of funny. We call it our old person's dinner. We go to dinner at 3 p.m., go to the movie at noon, and go to dinner at 3 p.m. Eat all the crowds and everything. So it's been really cool. Now, of course, it was pretty rough that we lost our mother-in-law because she's one of the reasons we moved back was to be able to be closer to her and help her as going through her stages of end of life. And but at least we got back and had several months to spend with her before she did pass. So,
well, that's the most important thing, that she actually got to be, and you actually got to be with her before that happened. I do want to show one thing. I got a couple little videos to show y'all real quick. I've told you all about this. We're building a house, and me and my sons, the painter that we had decided that they didn't want to paint anymore.
Paul, I thought he was going to show us pictures of a trailer or something like that.
Oh
no, this is actually even better. So anyway, my point being is, give me a second to get this pulled up.
No,
here.
It's not better than your trailer.
We're just trying to fill
the
air. We're
trying to do this, so I don't need the distraction.
Well,
so
that's why we're talking. You go on and find that. Paul and I will talk. Right, Paul?
That's right.
So let me get back over here.
I don't think he's building a trailer.
I don't give a crap what you think. If you want to be honest, okay. So here is. I'm going to share the screen. We decided. My 2 sons and I decided we're going to spray or paint the inside of this house, or paint the whole house. So this is the old man. I haven't shot an airless in 30 years. And after I got through starting and shooting, my boys looked at me and said, "Dad, you still got it." So,
Russ, your mic is breaking up.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was me. It was real choppy there, Russ. I understood what you were saying, but just saying, who's that, Russ? Look how crappy he's doing that, Russ.
It's clearly
that's you, Russ. That's you, Russ. It looks really good, Russ.
Look for the union label.
Is that latex, Russ?
Yes, that's latex.
I love spraying latex.
Whatever happened to the good old days of rollers and
Yeah, it ain't happening. Right?
Because you
That's
can't
too
do
much
it as
work.
fast with a roller as you can with a sprayer.
Yeah, but don't they in big boy construction country, Russ, use a sprayer like that? And I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I've
Well,
seen
a
windows.
lot of your commercial buildings
Yeah.
require you to spray it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've seen
Yep.
the windows sprayed. I don't know, 6 inches. We've had to come in and clean up office buildings and stuff, and that was one of the things that the overspray was on the windows. But other than that,
All right, that was one of the first ones. Now, we didn't get a video of Corey spraying, and my son said if I went too long on this video that he was going to really be mad at me because he looked like a plumber at one point.
oh, he was cracking up. He was cracking up. Is that what he was doing?
Yeah, so I'm only going to play a short. Can you see the screen, or I think you need to reshare?
Yeah.
We got to share it again.
Okay. I got to reshare again. All right, that's what I thought.
Paul, that was a
So
question.
yeah,
for
he bends down to go underneath the window, and the plumber's crack shows. So and he told me if I showed this, he was going to be very angry with me. So
Hey, I've got a quick question for Steve Good. Steve, is stevedgood.com/catalog your site? It looks like a search for your stuff.
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly so I don't get it wrong.
Okay.
all right,
I can-
let me go ahead.
on both
Let me
sides.
go ahead and do this real quick while they're looking for that. Cameron likes to shoot left to right. I shoot up and down. So he missed a little on the right, so he had to go back and. That's where I had to stop sharing.
You coward.
Yeah.
He's picking up your butt now, ain't he?
Yeah. No, he said, if you show that, I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, I got one more if y'all want to just see it for a second. Oh, I'll do this. Yeah, let me do this one.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's your
This
show,
is
but
actual. I'm walking through the front door.
We still don't see it,
Let me
Russ.
get back to. I'm walking through the front door, and this is actually a little tour, real quick. It might make you sick if you have motion sickness or whatever. So
How many square feet is that house, Russ?
it's about a little over 1,600 square foot. All right, so I'm coming through the front door. The master bedroom. This is the master bedroom.
We're not seeing it.
You're not sure.
You're not sharing it.
If anybody
All
should
right.
know, Paul should know.
I know I hit sharing.
It
Paul?
shared for a second and went away.
Sharing is caring.
All right, so let's see. Present, share screen, window. This window right here, share. Let's give it a minute to see. Can y'all see
Yeah,
that?
Twirling, yes, it's twirling. It's
twirling.
getting there. There we go.
There you
Okay,
go.
there's a dark figure at the end of the hall. I'm
That's
scared.
Cameron. He's walking out. He's walking out the back door because he didn't want to get in the.
Man, that
All right,
was
so we're
quick.
walking through the front door. This is the master bedroom.
Man, y'all made a mess.
Master bath.
Look at that splatter.
And the drywall dust.
You
all
missed
over
a
the floor.
spot there. You missed a spot there.
No,
Russ.
that is cause it is wet, and you
See,
can
down at the
put your
bottom?
commentary.
Isn't that what we're here
It hasn't
for?
had a chance to dry yet, so you're going to
Okay.
see splotches.
Okay.
A lot of
all right.
splotches there.
Yeah. Look at that overspray, my God.
Yeah.
That's the hall bathroom.
Isn't our job to critique?
one of the bedrooms.
Of-
The other
That's a
bedroom.
blue bucket there,
That's the
Russ.
bedroom you just saw me shoot right there in the video, matter of fact.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a little tour of the house.
We're the
Good job, Russ.
hecklers.
Looks great. Really does look great. I don't care what Paul says.
What kind of flooring are you going to put down, Russ?
Yeah. What kind of what?
What kind of flooring are you going to put down?
All not
Ceramic
wood
tile?
flooring,
Laminate?
vinyl, not vinyl flooring, plank flooring. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Laminate.
Yeah, laminate.
Laminate flooring.
Yeah, laminate. Yeah, we use all laminate. It's throughout the whole house. It's all waterproof. So
Yeah.
even in the bathrooms and the kitchens, it won't have a problem.
Nice.
That's
So
what we do
and
here.
we do it. This is called a spec home, and a spec home means that you're building it to sell as is. We don't do custom homes because custom homes are a pain in the butt. So we go in, we spray it one color all through. If they want to buy it and change colors, hey, have a go for it. Carpet is a thing of the past. People
Yeah.
do not like carpet anymore. Matter of fact, it's hard to sell a house with full of carpet. It sells worse than it does. So we're putting all laminate flooring down anywhere, and through the whole thing. The kitchen has an island sink, and then it comes down to the right. If you'll just bear with me 1 second, I'll promise Steve Good. I'll let you talk before I'm.
You're doing good.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Steve, but you don't get to talk.
So, Steve, did you see the link in the inside chat on the right?
I put the link in the chat.
Okay.
Ed wants to know if it's vinyl plank flooring.
Yes, vinyl plank flooring.
You know, the
All
new
right, so
vinyl
this
flooring
is
they
a
got
pretty
out
good
now
picture
is really good.
right here of what I can show.
Which chat did you put it in, Steve?
The YouTube chat.
Okay.
Present, share screen, window, this picture, share.
Put it in the inside chat if you don't mind, Steve.
All right, can you see this?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, this is a combination kitchen and a dining room. So this plumbing right here is for an island sink. The cabinets will go across from this point, or probably a couple of feet past this point, all the way to the wall. This wiring that's laying on the floor goes inside the cabinets for the dishwasher and the garbage disposal. And then the cabinets will, at where this wiring is, will go to the right down the wall and then to the next wall. And that'll be for the range, microwave, and the refrigerator. So it has an island sink. And so this is all open here into the dining room.
Is
then,
that a
like I
concrete
said,
floor?
Yeah, that's concrete. Yeah,
Okay.
That's Cameron sitting out back taking a break. Then that's the back porch. That's a little closet for whatever. So
For little clothes.
yeah.
Take
That
my
is a
break.
small
They
door.
gave my break when they gave him the job.
Did you do any of the
So
framing?
anyway, huh?
Did you do any of the framing, or did you have it all done?
We have yes, our framer works for us exclusively, and he builds all of our homes. And I take that back. He works for other contractors, but he exclusively does our framing. He can frame that house in one day. Yes, he brings a crew of 8 people in. The first thing they do is set the trusses, and once the trusses are set and locked off, 2 or 3 of them are on the roof, and they start decking it in, and the rest of them go inside and start framing the walls. But now I'm not talking about 8 hours. They usually are there for probably about 10 hours, but he will frame that house in one day.
So you've probably got it under roof in under 2 weeks then, huh?
Oh yeah.
That's
How much
amazing.
wobble do the walls have in it?
But yeah, they don't have any wobble because under Florida hurricane codes, any wall that's over 8 foot long has to have a poured center column with reinforced steel. And beside any window that's over 24 inches wide has to have both sides of the window has to have poured columns on each side of the window, reinforced steel. All doors have to have poured columns with reinforced steel. The glass sliding door in the back has to have poured columns with reinforced steel. So
Dang, y'all
we used to be able to run like a 20-foot wall on a house with actually nothing but a lintel, and it connected with nothing but the cement between the blocks. That is no more. Every 8 foot, if it's a 20-foot wall, every 8 foot has to have a poured column with reinforced steel, and that runs from the footer to from the footer all the way to the lintel. That's for hurricane code.
Are you having pretty good luck with getting materials now? I know up here they were.
Yeah, we haven't had any problems with. We had a little problem for a little while getting some plywood and some stuff, but that was just a little kind of a glitch kind of thing. But yeah, we haven't had any problems. So
Up here they were having problems with garage doors. Believe it or not, they couldn't get garage doors. There were houses in this neighborhood, which is only 2 years old. There were houses in this neighborhood set an extra 2 months just to get a garage door.
wow.
And 2 by 4s.
It's kind of freaky how that kind of thing like rotates. It'll be like you can't get windows for a while, then you can't get garage doors, then you can't, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it rotates around on what you can and can't get. So
that's like when we were selling the house in Lexington. Of course, it sold real fast because it was right at the peak of, the housing market going crazy. So it sold within like just a few hours. And we got a good payout for the house, more than we expected. But it's like I told my wife, I said, it doesn't do you any good when you get to your new home because you're going to pay extra for it there too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Up here
All
in
right,
Wisconsin, there's no inspections because the house would be sold before they get it done.
Yeah.
So they don't do that anymore.
All right. So first off, Aussie Man's out there, Brooke Martin, Donna Presley, Brooks Martin. Y'all start calling out names, please, and help me. Lynn's Handcrafted Wood Signs.
I saw Jimbo out there, I think. I saw Michelle Marcoux also. Bonsoir.
Heirloom
Station.
Station.
James Parker.
Yep. I saw Chris Nealon.
Yeah, Heirloom Gang Crawls. Kim McCrory. Would If I Could, John Cousins. So appreciate Russ Meadows is out there.
Jim Bashir. Hey, how come Jim isn't inside? Instead, he's outside.
Yeah, Herb Scrolling Station. I don't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you been on here before? And I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Several times.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to. I have to realize I'm getting older, so my memory is getting bad.
Robin's buys and DIYs.
Hello,
Dixon
Robin.
Hoffman. Who the heck is Dixon Hoffman?
He's in here too. If you want to know where you can get him, it's on Earth.
Leonard Davis.
All right, let's go to Mr. Steve Good. So you're
Mr.
back in your hometown, Indiana.
Yep.
In Indiana.
We grew up in Clarksville, which is right across the river from Louisville, and that's where most of our family still was. So when my wife's father passed away, we wanted to be back closer to her mom so we could help out with some. She has 2 sisters and a brother here also, so they were already all helping out. But we were kind of not doing our share because we were an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So luckily, my daughter and her husband decided they wanted to move back to this area too, because we wouldn't have left them. We would have stayed in Lexington as long as they were there. So they moved back. So when we all moved the same week. So it was a pretty crazy week, but we got through it. And now it's just a matter of trying to get set up in the new location. And we're getting there really slowly. Let me ask you a question real quick, Russ, because this has changed since the last time I was here. What's the streaming network you're using? The little duck. What are you using now to stream?
We're using StreamYard still.
StreamYard. I don't recognize that one.
Yeah, it was. We went to help me out here, guys.
I forget what we had before.
We've been
Yeah,
on
I
this
do too.
over a year now.
Well, it was
long
the
time.
Google.
Yeah,
it
we've
was the
been
Google
with,
one for the longest time.
Well, yeah,
Hangouts.
yeah.
It was Hangouts.
Oh yeah,
for-
well the
Yeah.
Google Hangouts, but there was something other than StreamYard
Yeah,
that
there
we
was
used for
something
a
after
while.
that.
Did you use Streamlabs? You didn't use any Streamlabs, did
No,
you?
Streamland, not
What was that
Streamland.
called?
But the quality on this one's really good.
Yeah, StreamYards, I really liked it. The problem
use
was
one.
that I could only have, if at the time, I think it was like 6 people. And I used it for a while, and that's the reason I changed over to that other program. It's everything that everybody uses for business that you can have
Zoom.
like tons and tons of people.
Zoom.
Zoom. That was
Thank
it.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, we used Zoom for a while, but I really didn't like it. And then StreamYard opened it up to where you can have 10 people, which that's what I want.
Yeah.
We had 10 people on Google when we used to use that, and so we're back to StreamYard. I really like StreamYard. The problem I'm having is not with StreamYard. The problem that I'm having is with Restream, the one that transfers out to all 3
Yeah.
formats.
And by the way, today it's been really, really, really laggy. I've noticed.
Yes, it has been really laggy.
Yeah, really bad.
And I think that has to do with Restream. I really do.
Yes.
On this one, Russ, instead of share, it's got present. Is that the same thing?
Do
If I
what
wanna
now?
share, do I do present?
Yes,
At the bottom
present.
icon? Okay.
Yeah, you will go to present, and when you open it up, it says at the bottom one is share screen.
Okay.
Then you will notice you can choose a tab, a window, or an entire screen.
Okay.
I'm out of here. See
See you
you
later,
later,
Paul.
Steve.
Paul.
Take care.
See you, Paul.
Have a good weekend.
So yeah, so that's how you do it when you want to do that. So I haven't talked to you a long time. So as far as what you're doing with Scrollsaw Workshops.blogspot.com, it's pretty well going along the same route. Or what changes have you had to make in that, or how's that going?
The biggest changes that I've had to make is because we did move and we have more family around, we're busier during the day. I had to try to streamline the business without changing the business to the outward appearance. I wanted everything to look the same. So I still generate a pattern almost every day. The difference is in the past, when I had a 2D flat pattern, I could just simulate it very easily, and I knew it was going to work because there was no assembly to the project. But anytime I had a 3D project, like a little toy car or something a little more elaborate, I had to go in the shop and cut the pattern just to make sure everything fit and I didn't do anything silly. Well, since the move and I've been so much busier, what I've been working on lately is to automate to render the projects in 3 dimensions so I can actually assemble them in the 3D rendering software to make sure everything fits and goes together. And that's been the biggest change, that and the automation.
What are you using to do the animation with?
I'm using Blender. It's
Blender,
just it's a 3D application. That, it's kind of like the what the movie studios use, only a little
Yes.
And it's a fairly challenging program, but luckily I didn't need to know all of it. I just need to know enough to do what I need to do with it, which is to render 3D objects that look somewhat realistic, so I can move them around in the animation to make sure people understand how they go together. Because sometimes a 2D image won't give you, as a creator, a person who's going to build the project, a 2D image won't give you enough information to be able to assemble the project.
Right.
And there's times when I'll put out a 2D image that I think is obvious, and I'll get a dozen emails saying, "What were you thinking?" And it's because you don't see the things the same way other people do. And I do that all the time because I'm always in a hurry. That doesn't help either. So this 3D rendering software, I get questions on it every day, and it's free software and it's extremely powerful. It's way more.
Oh, yes.
It's way more powerful than my abilities show. The hardest part for me right now is to get the lighting right. I can get the 3D models built, and it's kind of funny. I actually still do the models in 2D. I design the models in 2D in CorelDRAW, and then I import the SVG into Blender and just extrude it to the thickness of the wood. So they're still all built in a 2D vector graphics program. It's kind of like a CAD. It's really a vector graphics, but it's similar to what people would know of as CAD. And
Right.
so they're built in 2D and then extruded into 3D. And then it's just a matter of me getting the dimensions correct and make sure that the slots go into the tabs and that, there's not something that I just overlooked.
You really ought to consider doing a little video on how you do that. That way it would help me out a whole lot.
Here's the reason I haven't done that yet. It's because I just started this 6 months ago, or maybe a little bit longer than that. And to be an expert at Blender, we're talking a couple of years. It's a very complex program. And it took
I know Donald uses it for some of your stuff. And I've used it in the past to do some of my stuff, but I just found it so difficult. And when I say it is such a program that does so many facets of so many things that,
And luckily, you don't need all those things.
There's so many options.
Yeah, you can concentrate on one thing like video editing, and that's fine. You can do video editing on it, but it does so much more than that.
I'm going to try to share my screen here. Tell me if it pops up.
Paul left too.
Are
Correct.
you still seeing my ugly face, or are you seeing the stream?
Hold on, I got to add to stream. Yes, we see it, but we're seeing like the three-dimensional.
Yeah, hang on a second. Okay,
There
here's
you got
it. Yep.
I'm going to just quickly open up something silly in CorelDRAW. Let's do this 2x4. Okay, we got this little leaf here. I'm going to copy this leaf and put it in another thing, and I'm going to export this as an SVG. So I've drawn this leaf in CorelDRAW, which is a flat vector graphics program. I'll name it 22, and I'm going to save it. Okay, so I'm exporting it out as an SVG file. Now, when I go to Blender, I can go. Tell me if you can see Blender now.
Yes, we can see it. Yep, got
I'm
it.
going to import that SVG file that we just created into Blender, and you'll see that it comes in as a flat, non-dimensional piece. I can select that piece, go over to the geometry side over here, and I can set it as 3, and now we have a 3D object. So if I go over
3 millimeters. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, in this case, it was 3 inches. I've got mine set to imperial. And the reason I set it at 3 inches is because I make everything way bigger, but I just have the ratio set right. So now what I can do is with this leaf selected, I can go up here. Well, let me just do this way. It's easier. I can go here and click on a texture, add this texture to it. Let me move my light over.
Russ, here's your video. Capture all this, Russ.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
That's
There's
exactly
the
what
3D
I do in Blender, in Tinkercad. Same thing.
Yeah. So there's the 3D object rendered. And so what I do is I do each individual part of the pattern like this. I bring them all in, and then I can take and move them around to make sure they fit together like I want them to. So
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's really just that simple. It's just that this Blender program has modeling, sculpting, UV editing, texture paint, shading, animation.
Oh, I know. That's
So it just goes on and on.
yeah.
And what you saw me do there is probably 80% of all I need to know to do, because all I'm doing is rendering these 3D images so I can put them together and make it look like something.
I've seen people take and make cartoons with Blender.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, actually make cartoons with Blender. Who else did we lose?
But Steve, where'd he go?
Oh, he hit the wrong Blender button.
Yep. He hit the wrong button. button. Steve, if you're out there, just
That's another good thing about Tinkercad too, is you can take any JPEG image, import it, and extrude it. That'll save you a lot of time.
yes. Hopefully he'll be able to go back and hit them.
I don't know, but he learned me something new. I was expect some new animations.
Oh, it's crazy what people are doing with Blender, you know, like that's what they used to use years ago in the studios in California. That's all they used to use. You know, now they got easier software, but I mean, there were guys that were, I used to
here
watch
he is.
stuff.
He's back. He's back. All right.
There he
I think
is.
I did. I'm not sure what happened, but I think I did that. I'm not
Well,
sure how I messed it up.
yeah, trust me, I've kicked my own self out of the show. So,
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's the new process of how I designed a lot of the latest patterns. And if you follow my blog at all, you'll notice that I use about the same 2 or 3 textures of wood, and I do that because I want people to know that they're not real. Because there are people
Right.
that will email me and ask, what wood is that? And it's like, it's not, it's not. real.
it's not. Yeah.
And if you pay attention, you can tell the ones that are fake and the ones that are real. But I don't want
Right.
it to look good.
It's a great tool, like you said. If you don't have the time to go out there and do that, you can at least put it into 3D and assure that it pretty well fits together.
Yep. And the other thing besides the time is buying. If you keep in mind now, I've designed a new scroll saw pattern on average every 1.2 days for 16 years. So
Right.
I've done a lot of scroll saw pattern design. Imagine building each of those projects, how much that would cost you.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So not only do I save the time, but I save the expense of the wood. Now, it used to be I had companies that would donate the wood to me, and of course that made it a lot better, but I lost that contract. So I don't have that option anymore, so I have to buy the lumber now. So
Yeah, I got into I have so many facets of things that were going on that I pretty well lost. It wasn't a matter of losing my sponsors. I just basically told them that, I'm not really back into doing a lot of more creative videos anymore like I was before. Now, I still advertise for Seiko. I love Ray.
yeah.
I still talk about Ray and his Seiko scroll saw because I want to tell you that's a fantastic saw. I love using it still to this day.
And even better than that is the man himself.
Now, the guy that did the vacuum system for the scroll saw.
Oh, yeah.
Scrollnado.
Scrollnado, yeah.
Yeah, he's dropped out of existence as far as I've tried contacting him by email and the stuff that he gave me, and I haven't heard from him.
Yeah, I met up. He actually lives pretty close to me, and I met up with him over in Madison, Indiana, a few months ago, and I haven't heard from him since. So I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there either.
He's a really nice guy too, and he has some very creative ideas. But it's so hard as a small manufacturer to get going. I mean, it's just brutal out there because anything you come up with that's a good idea, it gets stolen. If you don't make your money in the first year, you don't make no money because they're going to steal it from you.
Yep.
And I still keep. Because my sponsors were good to me. They really were. So I still keep. Like Klingspor has always supported me. Bearwood Supplies always supported me. Matter of fact, I hadn't scrolled in a while. I called what's his name?
Steven?
Yeah, and told him I needed a few things and I was going to order some stuff. And he said, just send me an email what you want and I'll send it to you. He didn't even charge me. So I'm like, Devogel Technologies, they still support me with my website. So, I still keep them running up there because I'll tell you why I keep them up there. They were faithful to me for so many years that, at least I can just, have that little bit of thing up there for them.
Steven's a good guy. He's got a new product out that's kind of interesting that I've got in my shop right now that I'm supposed to be finishing up a video on yesterday, actually, but I haven't got it done yet. He's come up with a kit to reduce vibration on scroll saws. It actually works.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
So when we're talking about that, about some of the stuff you have to do, on an average, how many emails do you usually get a day?
I get about, not including the junk mail, because that all goes in a separate folder. The actual emails on the blog, which are either from the customers who buy the few things I sell or the people that have questions, is about 300 a day. I actually can answer on a good day 50, and some of those
50.
answers will be yes or no. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, the emails are the biggest time drain on the business. The signature coins take about 2 hours a day to laser those and get them postage and shipped out and everything. The catalogs take maybe 35, 40 minutes a day to get those postage marked and sent out. And then the pattern can take anywhere from 10 minutes to 3 or 4 hours, depending on.
Right.
It's so funny. You know, I just sit here and tell that I've done a new pattern every 1.2 days for 16 years. The actual truth is I've probably done 2 or 3 patterns each day, because 2 of them
Yeah.
get away.
Well, yeah, you probably do more in one day if you have more time, so you can spread those out so you can have 2 or 3 days off, so to speak.
I wish that I was as smart as that. I've only maybe once or twice in 16 years gotten ahead. I never get ahead.
Really?
No.
I know that at one time when you decided to retire, and you went and talked to an accountant or whoever you had talked to, and you showed him your business portfolio, what you've done and everything else. And your literally comment was, I never will forget this, is once you showed him everything and said, can I retire? He said, Mr. Good, you could actually retire like 3 or 4 years ago. You told me, you said it almost had tears in your eyes.
It was actually a her, and I did have tears in my eyes. I was.
We have a couple questions out here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Jimbo wants to know, Steve, can you do this with Inkscape?
Yes, the 2D Inkscape is a vector graphics program which is 2-dimensional. So you would still need the Blender to go 3D. But if you're just looking to create scroll saw patterns, Inkscape works perfectly well. I don't use it, but mostly just simply because I do multi-page documents, and CorelDRAW just is more functional that way. But CorelDRAW
used Inkscape for the first 3 or at least the first 3 years of my pattern designing was Inkscape. And I think Steve Good, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that made me change to CorelDRAW, because he was doing some stuff in CorelDRAW, and I realized Inkscape's great. I have no problem with it. It is fantastic. But CorelDRAW is like just one step above it.
Yeah.
It has the bells and whistles.
To a luxury car.
Yeah, it does things a lot easier in some ways. And so I'm almost positive you were using it. And I said, all right, I need to look into this. And I did. And I ended up starting using CorelDRAW, and I wouldn't go back. CorelDRAW to me is fantastic.
Well, the guy that got me started using CorelDRAW, and Russ, I'm forgetting his name right now. It's the guy that was so big into scroll saws, did work for all the companies. I know you and him had words a couple of times. I can't remember his name right now.
Charles Deering.
Yeah. No. Charles.
Oh,
this guy.
Sorry.
What was his name, Russ?
I'm trying to think of his name.
I can't remember. That's bad.
I can't remember it either.
I've always liked the guy a lot, and he used CorelDRAW. That's what got me started. But that's back 20 years ago, so I've used it much. So.
Yeah.
The other one is Lynn's Handcrafted. Says, Steve, I always look for your emails. How many people are on your email list now?
25,000 I send out a 500,000 emails a month from the
Wow.
newsletter.
Yeah.
And that newsletter is by far my biggest expense. It costs me about $250 a month to send out that newsletter.
Yeah.
Just a little under that, so it's expensive. But if you want to grow, you just don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm somewhere around 57 million pattern downloads. So, and that's why, because the newsletter gets my reach out there so much farther. So,
How many patterns in your whole catalog, Steve?
a little under 4,000, but that's pattern books. A lot of those books have multiple patterns in them. So I don't know the actual total, but it's a lot.
Well, I just snagged one of those, and if anybody wants all of his patterns, you can go to the link that's in the YouTube. In fact, I think I'll post it again. I hope it's the right
I
one.
think one of the most interesting things is when Steve started. First off, you started selling the DVDs, and you said to yourself, "They'll never sell," and people will bought them left and right. And then now you've moved to USB sticks, right?
Yeah, it's cheaper.
And I think one of the most interesting things that he told me one time is that he couldn't believe they were selling, and he actually asked somebody, "Why would you buy a DVD when all my patterns are online?" And the guy said, "Well, what happens if you die tomorrow?"
Yeah, it was actually a lady, but that is the right story. So now
Yeah.
I call it my death DVD. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing the DVDs, and then because I prefer DVDs, and DVDs are just going away, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll go over to USBs now because I had to buy an external DVD for my laptop because it didn't come with it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, laptops and home computers no longer carry DVDs in them.
Right.
Well, the company that was making my DVDs for me, they did a great job, and they were super inexpensive. So I never had a complaint. The good news about the DVDs is they ship to like 50 countries around the world. So I had a bigger audience. The USB drives, I now manufacture and label and do all that myself. So it added a little extra work, but the DVD sales just kept going, blah, 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 blah. And the USB drives were going up. So it wasn't a decision I wanted to make because it caused me more work. But
Yeah, it was just a matter of time before that happened. I knew it was coming. As soon as USB started out and then they come out with a USB stick, I knew the handwriting was on the wall for the CDs was doomed.
well, I'll tell you, a new handwriting that's on the wall is what I do for a living is not very far from being gone because artificial intelligence is going to replace me.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yep.
And I've realized that too. Yeah, it's getting to the point that they can write essays for college students and yeah.
I'm already generating when you're designing patterns, you always need reference material. You can't draw everything. You wouldn't have time. And I used to have to go to public domain sources to get that reference, and it could take a long time to find it. Now I just go over to Edge and use their built-in AI image generator, and I say, make me a silhouette of a rabbit, and it just makes it.
Yeah.
So it already has cut my. And again, that's another thing that I've been doing is every process that I have, I've been trying to figure out a way to shorten it. And most of it I've been able to, but that's one way.
Well, when you have that many people and out there and that much that you're trying to reach. But now how long has Scrollsaw Workshop.blogspot.com been going?
In May of 2007, I was up in training for Xerox. I was in Washington, D.C. in a big training facility they have up there outside of D.C. And I was bored and I wanted to start a blog. I wanted to learn how to start a blog because in 2007, blogs had kind of started to peak. They were getting more interesting. And so I sat down and I designed a blog, but then I had to give an idea of what the blog would be about. And I kind of like Scrollsaw, so I said, well, I'll just do it Scrollsaw. So I designed that first pattern, and I really never intended anybody to ever show up. It was just something I was doing for my own personal enjoyment, right? Well, then somebody downloaded that first pattern, and I thought, wow, that's kind of weird they found it because I didn't advertise it or anything. They just found it. Google's amazing. by within 2 years, it had started to grow to the point where I knew I was going to keep doing it. And I have kind of an addictive personality anyway, so the fact that I was doing it every day was kind of in my nature of
Right.
just the way I took things. So, but then it got to a point where it was surpassing what I was earning at work, and it's like, dang, this might be serious. So
Right.
once I turned 58, I was already making more on the blog than I was making after a 37-year career with Xerox. And their pay was, I was doing fine with their pay. They paid me, for as dumb as I am, I was making pretty good money, right? So it was one of those deals where I said, I can retire and go do this full time. And that's how that all happened. So
Right.
in 2016 is when I left and started doing this. And it's kind of a funny story there too. Xerox offered an early retirement package in 2016, and I signed up for it thinking I was about ready. And the deal was I would stay 6 months and help train my replacement, and I would work 70% hours at 100% pay. So it was a really good deal. So I signed up for it, and went along. Finally, my boss called me up and said, hey, you got rejected. Sorry, you're not going to be able to take the package. And it was just because of local manpower issues and stuff. So I said, well, okay, whatever. I said, well, just so you know, I'm turning in my 2-week notice. And he looked at me and he said, well, you can't leave in 2 weeks. You got to stick around and train your replacement. I said, I offered to do that, and you said no.
Exactly.
Which I felt bad about because I loved the company I worked for. They were really good to me, but I was done. I don't even want to eat ice cream for 37 years, much less work. So I was ready to go do something else.
Yeah, I put 30 years in with the fire department, and it was when I realized I needed to retire was as a paramedic. When you go to a scene and you no longer have empathy for the person that's sitting there hurting, it's just a routine. In other words, I'm giving them epinephrine for this, or I'm starting an IV for that, or whatever. But it's really not. You're not really tying to the patient. You need to let it go.
Yeah, but don't you think you had to do that to survive at your age, though? I mean, you reach a point where if you took that all home with you, well, it would be hard.
Oh yeah. When you did it, I did it for 30 years. So I started when I was 18, and I retired at 48. So I did it for 30 years.
I was definitely ready to retire and come do this. So, and this is it's not work. And people ask me all the time, is it hard to run a maker business? And I said, not when you give away everything for free. Nobody ever wants their money back.
Yeah.
So what you do is you make your money outside of that.
And that's another thing people do not understand. Just to make this clear, this guy, Steve Good, does not charge for his patterns and never has. The only thing he charges for is like if you want to buy the USB stick with all of his patterns on it, yes, you got to pay for that. And the other thing is you sell coins that you can put into your work. Explain that out.
I don't remember where I saw the original idea, but it's not my original idea. It's a 1-inch medallion, 1-inch diameter medallion that has one of 4 different logos on it. And it says handcrafted by, and then I laser engrave their name at the bottom of the coin. Then what you do is you take a 1-inch Fosner bit and you drill a hole 1/8 of an inch deep, and you implant this little signature coin into your project. So furniture builders, a lot of lathe guys that run the lathe, they buy these coins to put into their project. And I don't know if I've got one handy or not. I probably don't, but that is, the donations have always been and always will be the biggest income generator, just because they're so kind to me. But the signature coins are number 2, and the Christmas ornaments are number 3.
So what would you say? 96% of what you do is free?
Oh yeah, more than that. But that's not out of the goodness of my heart. The reason I do that is because I make more money doing it that way.
Well, and
nobody sue you that way either.
Yeah, but no, I understand that. You've always done it as a passion, to be able to send patterns out to people for free so that they can make things, and it just exponentially kept on growing and growing and growing into where you are today.
It's hard for people to have a concept of how big the world is. If I was selling my patterns in this local area, I'd sell like 3 a year. You know,
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
Exactly.
exaggerate. But worldwide, I'm selling millions, not selling, but I'm having millions of patterns go out. If 1%
Yes.
of those patterns send me a donation, I'm ahead.
Yes.
So you don't have to get a big return on donations. And it's not.
I would wager to say some of, and I'm not going to mention anybody's name, but some of the pattern makers that
Shut up, Al.
sell their patterns to make a living off of, you're probably making more than they are making selling their patterns.
Well, I don't know that to be true. And the people that I work with, Judy Gale Roberts and all the girl up in Canada, those people, they're such nice people that I just don't wish them anything but success. Now, I do know that there's a few people that get a little upset that I don't sell my patterns because they think it hurts their business. And I'm sorry if they feel that way. I don't intend it to. It's just, as a business, it makes no sense to sell patterns. It really does. And I'm sorry to the guys out there that are selling patterns, but it's not, this world's not like that no more. you know, it's not.
No,
like,
I understand. But Judy Gale Roberts, most of her patterns are in Tarja patterns.
Yeah. And they're so highly skilled that she's able to do it because she's the best in the world. Well, guess what?
Yes.
People aren't the best in the world. You know,
but you don't sell in Tarja patterns, so she's not a competition in any way, shape, or form.
No, she's a friend. So
yes, and that's what I'm saying. But I know a couple of the other people that you're talking about. I know them very well because I had me and them. At least one of them had a run-in before.
Be quiet, Al. Be quiet. Quiet.
We got another question.
And we're not talking about CD either because he don't develop patterns.
Okay.
We
Well,
got
I know others too, but be quiet, Al. Shut up, Al.
Yeah.
go ahead, Donna.
Jimmy Spears wants to know what percentage of funds come from advertising on your website.
Low, because I don't take money from advertisers. I take product. And the reason I do that is when there's a company out there that wants to advertise on my website, keep in mind, I'm a donation website, so my reputation is everything. My reputation goes away, my money goes away. So if I advertise for a company and they don't do a good job, then they can't pay me enough because it would kill me.
Right.
So what I do is I take product. I take product from the companies either through coupons or whatever they want to give me. Let me back up. Recently, when I did the deal for Seiko, where I was advertising, for the Seiko scroll saw for the month, I did take cash for that because that was a one-time thing. Plus, I know Ray. I've known Ray since forever, and I trust him 100%. So that's not an issue.
And without a shadow of a doubt, he sells a good product.
It's just
number two, he backs up his product.
Yeah. So
that's a no-brainer.
There is one other product that I took cash for, and it turned out okay, but I probably should have been more careful. The X-Tool laser, they sold like $36,000 worth of those lasers during the month with my coupon code. So they sold a bunch, and that made me nervous because that's a lot of people out there because they're, about $900 a piece or a little less than that. And so it made me nervous because that's a lot of potential problems to come back to me. And it worked out great because that particular Chinese laser company is excellent. They have good service, but that's one of those things that when I got into it, the money was so good, I let the greed kind of get in front of me and I took the money, and I could have been a little slower. And
Steve Good got greedy. Oh my God.
I get literally 2 emails a month wanting a company wanting to send me a laser to review.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 8 lasers in the other room right now waiting to be reviewed. And most of those companies want to give you a commission off the ones you sell. and I'm not going to do it because I don't know them well enough.
Right. No. And you can't afford to.
No, it would.
Yeah, you can't afford to. Send me your laser. I'll review it.
Yeah.
If I like it, I'll give it a good review.
Yeah.
If I don't, I'll tell it the truth. And if they don't like it that way, then don't send me the product.
It's not like I need another laser, you know.
Yeah, it's exactly.
I'm good. So actually,
No, but at least you're giving an honest opinion of what you got.
Yeah.
Right? You're not taking anything monetarily other than the laser. You're giving a honest review on the laser. And if it's a piece of crap, you're going to say, I'm sorry, I wouldn't buy this.
Yeah. Well, actually, I do it a little different than that. I tell them up front, if I like it, I'll review it. If I don't like it, I'll send it back if you want it, but I'm not going to review it because I don't want to waste
Okay. Time. Well, see, that's even better. That's even better.
I just don't do it.
Yeah.
So, and I've had
like
that. So.
No, that's even better. A better way of doing it. Yeah. So
I've been lucky with the tools people send me to review. Most of them turn out to be pretty good.
I was doing really lucky when I was producing video after video after video after video at my high point in Simply Wooden Creations. Yes, I was having people sending me stuff and doing everything. My point got to be that I have a big family.
You had a life.
15 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren. And it came to a point I had to make a decision. Do I want to make a business out of this and continue the way I'm going? Or do I just need to like back off and enjoy my family? Because trust me, between I've told Steve Good from day one, I'm only doing this to make extra money. I mean, just to play. I don't need the money. My income from my house is paid for, my truck's paid for, my boat's paid for, my SUV's paid for. Everything I own is paid for. I don't owe anything. I have some credit card debt, but that's because I bought a few things, and that'll be paid off next month. But so I can live off of my retirement without any problem whatsoever. So, you know, it's just a hobby for me. If I make, at one point I was making like $1,200 a month when I was doing video after video after video after video, between the videos and the other stuff coming in. All I was doing was turning around and buying materials, It was a self-perpetuation thing. I was buying materials and new tools. That's all I was doing. It just self-perpetuated to grow. I wasn't using any of my money. It just come out of that. So at one point I went like, you know, do I really want to continue down this road, or just want to like just kind of like kick back? And take it easy. And that's what I decided to do.
My son-in-law's a web designer. He does a lot of work for pretty good sized companies where they do social media advertising and all that kind of stuff. And he's constantly badgering me because my site looks like it came out of like 1996. It's old and it's ugly. And he says, man, why don't you let me update that thing? It's so ugly looking. I said, no, because it's what people have grown accustomed to and they trust me. You know, anybody that will design a website that ugly can't be totally untrustworthy.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how things work. But
Midnight Scroller said, hi, Russ. And her next thing was, she likes your haircut.
Your haircut or mine?
Your haircut.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo.
So I guess I'm just chopped liver. You're talking to Santa here. So I would have rather said that, Santa, your beard looks good.
Oh my goodness.
I'll tell you
You're
a funny
not chopped liver, you're chopped steak.
I'll tell you a funny story, Russ. It's a little embarrassing to tell, but it's funny, so I'll tell it anyway. Back before the pandemic, I was going to all the trade shows and everything. Russ, I've even met up with you at the.
Oh yeah, the first time I ever met you was in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. Anyway, I was at a trade show one time. I don't even remember who I was with, but I was at somebody's booth, and my wife happened to come in the first day to be with me. And she's known me. We started dating when I was a sophomore in high school, so she knows everything that there is to know about me, right? And I was very shy, very backward. Just I was a nerd, just plain and simple. And I'm standing there at the booth, and these people come up and they want my autograph. And it's like, this is fairly early when all this was going on, and I never thought about anything like that. And my wife looked at me and she just said, this is crazy. So it's funny how you can start something just for fun, and over the years, just because you're out there so much, my newsletter goes to like 57 different countries, and you just can't believe how much influence the web has. And for instance, somebody like me who has no business acumen at all. I mean, I'm the world's worst businessman. Just ask my accountant. They think I'm nuts. But because of the way I do it, I've gotten used to it, and I'm good at the way I do it. But the influence that you can get just because of the eyeballs that watch what you do every day, it's pretty remarkable. So I had a lady call me one day from Florida, and she said, I got a favor to ask. She said, I need you to call my dad. He lives up in Michigan, and tell him it's okay for him to move down here. And I said, who are you and why? She said, well, my dad's like 90 years old. He lives up in Michigan, and the winters are getting too hard for him. He lives alone, and I need to get him down here to live with me so I can help him. But she said, when I try to get him to move, he said he can't leave because he gets Steve Good up there, and he don't know if he can get me in Florida. So it's little things like that happen to you that I know it's ego. I understand, it's ego related, but it makes you feel good about what you do, and that's the thing that keeps you coming back and doing it every day. So,
all right, got another question. Jim Bashir wants to know, how does Steve decide on blog topics?
Oh gosh. Sometimes it's something that happens to me through the day. Like the other day, we went to the herb farm up in Indiana, spent all day going through all the greenhouses and everything. So I came back and did a pattern that was related to flowers. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Other times I'll get an email from a reader and they'll say, hey, you've never done whatever this. So I'll do that. But in general, let me back up. The way I'm able to run a blog that takes as many hours in a day as this one does, and yet still have family time, is I don't go to bed until about 4 a.m. every day. That's my norm. So I start working on the blog usually around 11 p.m. and then I'll work through the night on the blog. And then I get up and do family during the day. So I only sleep a few hours, maybe 4 hours a night. So what looks easy, it actually, and a few years ago, that was a lot easier than it is now that I'm 66. It's getting a lot harder, but that's how I do it. That's how I keep up. Otherwise,
I don't see how you do it. How old are you, Steve?
66.
All right, I'm 65. Dude, I sleep at least 6 to 8 hours a night.
Yeah.
Let's be nice.
It's kind of funny, when we went to that farm the other day, I was kind of excited because I like flowers and all things. So going through all that was really a lot of fun. And there was no physical activity really other than walking, but it wore me out. You know how it is once you get older and things start getting harder, that you think, man, there was no physical there. But I came home, passed out, and I woke up like 9 hours later.
Yeah.
So it changes. But see, in my job at Xerox, we had a 24-hour shift every fourth day. So I would be out 24 hours. Well, guess what? The next day after that 24-hour shift, we had to be back in at 10 a.m. So I'd get 2 hours sleep, then I had to come back and work another 8-hour shift. So, that's the primary reason why I had to retire, because I couldn't do it anymore. Physically.
Right. No, I I totally understand. I don't think I've talked to you since what I found out. What I found out after I had a MRI, I found out I had 2 herniated discs
Oh,
and 4 fractured vertebrae.
how'd you do it? Do you know?
I'm guessing it came along with the fire department stuff.
Oh,
So, to make a long story short, I don't know if it's L5, L4, L5, or L5 or L6. There's L means lumbar region. So there's 1 through 7. So I think it's all either 4 or 5 or 5 or 6. One of those pinched the sciatic nerve.
oh,
The sciatic nerve that I have a problem is running down my right leg. And the 4 fractured, it's compression fractured vertebrae are T9, 10, 11, and 12 are all compression fractures. They're old, so they said I did those years ago, so they don't even know exactly when. But the problem exists is that my sciatica is so bad in my right leg that when I finally have got to a neurologist, they tell me I have what's called drop foot, which is the same thing as if I had a stroke.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they have explained it to me in this way that even though you haven't had a stroke, and even though the muscles are still there, you're you're not using your right leg to its full advantage. So therefore the muscles are becoming weak. So, and they've never explained this before. I've just found this in the last few months, trust me. So therefore the therapy is they told me you need to get your right leg muscles up to the point where they're equal with the left leg muscles. And there's no reason that they can't be. You have nerve damage, but it does not affect the muscles. So they've been concentrating on my right leg, trying to build my right leg muscles back up and get them in place. It'll improve your walking 100% if you can get your right leg muscles back up to par.
What about the pain?
Huh?
What about the pain?
Well, I found the most fascinating medicine that I've ever found in my entire life. It's called gabapentin.
Mm.
Jim Bashirs knows all about it. He's been on it. And let me just real quick, let me tell you how I found about it. So my next door neighbor broke his back, and they were giving him this medicine for his back. And I was telling him about my sciatic, and he goes, "Hey, I got this medicine, and here, let me give you 4 or 5 pills, and you try them and see if it helps you." The first night, I just took them at nighttime to help me sleep. First night I took it, I slept pretty good. For almost 3 years, I have slept on my right side. I could not sleep on my back. I could not sleep on my left side. That's how much the pain. The only relief I had was to sleep on my right side. Second night I took it, I woke up on my back the next morning. Third night I took it, I woke up on my left side. I haven't slept on my left side in 3 years. So I went to my doctor and said, "See this? I want some of it." And I explained to him, and he goes, "Okay, let's try it." So ever since I found that medication, it has made a total change in my life.
I'm going to write that down and give it. You know, my wife has those back problems.
Yes, gabapentin. I'll send you the information. Just I'll send you the information for what you need.
She's got one of those.
They usually start you out at a low dose, like 3 or 4 or 600 milligrams. Mine was so bad they started me right off at 8, which is a high dose. But it has made so much of a difference in my life.
I'll have to find out if she's tried that because she's got one of those neural stimulators.
Yes,
It was great
you've
when
told
they
me
first
about
put
it.
in, but slowly they lose their effectiveness. So
Right. So,
working
but
both.
gabapentin. So with that, and I still have to take, they give me tramadol, which is a pretty high potent pain reliever. But I only take that when I have to have it.
Yeah, my wife threw all her painkillers away. She just does Tylenol. They're not Tylenol.
Yeah. And then they gave me another one, which is a muscle relaxer, which that sometimes helps too. But the gabapentin changed my life. And so they got me now trying to build up my right leg muscles to equivalent my left leg muscles and see how that helps first. And we'll go from there. But yeah.
So do you walk in circles?
I have a limp. I kid you not. I have been declared handicapped because of my back injury.
Yeah, my wife
So
just-
I have a little handicap card. I can park in a handicap place now, and but I have a limp, and the neurologist told me after he looked at the MRIs, he says, I don't know that your limp will ever go away because of the nerve damage. Nerves don't normally repair, but he says, I can guarantee you that I can make it better.
Have you seen some of the new stem cell research where there actually are?
Yeah, I have seen that. Yes.
Crazy stuff.
So, but yeah, so that's in the situation that I'm in right now. And the next thing I'll tell you real quick that you don't know is I found out that we had COVID for the 3rd time about in the middle of March, the 1st of March. Yeah. March, April, May. Yeah, it'd been the end of March for the 3rd time. And I had an attack, and I ended up being in the hospital for 4 days.
Oh, wow.
And I'm seeing a neurologist because they think the COVID damaged my heart.
My daughter's had it twice now as well. And the second time wasn't as bad as the first time, but the symptoms have lasted longer.
Oh, we've had it 3 times. First time, cold. Second time, cold. Third time, I was in bed for 4 days.
My brother-in-law he was in the hospital for, I think, 5 days the first time he had COVID, and it caused some type of autoimmune disease. They think it triggered it, and it may take his life. And this has been well over a year ago that he had, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And
well, the attack was brought on by I have anxiety, panic attacks, and I thought that's what I was having. But I took my anxiety medicine, and it didn't even dent it. And I walked into the kitchen and looked at my wife, and I said, I think I'm going to have to go to the ER. She was cooking dinner and just finished it and was fixing to set our plates. And I walked in there and told her, I said, I think I need to go to the ER. And she said, are you serious? And I said, yes. She goes, give me about a couple of minutes to put this stuff in the refrigerator and we'll go. And when I walked in the ER and told them what the problems I was having, and then they took me straight in, hooked me up to an EKG. And the next thing I know, I'm on a floor being admitted.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so they're looking into to see if it's called long-term COVID.
Yeah.
And it can have different effects on your body in different ways. And one of them they're looking at, it could be my heart. So, but yeah, I mean, I went down there today and sprayed that house. And I want to tell you, to be honest with you, between the gabapentin for my back, and I try to walk as much as I can. The doctor told me, do not lift anything over the weight of a gallon of milk. That's it. If, ands, and buts. No doubt about it. I can exercise my arms. I can exercise, I can walk all I want because that really doesn't affect what I'm having. And I do try to walk a lot, but it still is what it is. So I was really shocked when I went down there today and did all that spraying that I did as much as I did. And even my sons were going like, Dad, you're pushing yourself. And I said, no, I want to push myself. I want to see what I can do.
I noticed in the chat that Midnight Scroller said he has it too. So it's common. There's a lot of people that are still dealing with symptoms. You know, I know the pandemic is over, or whatever you want to call it. But there's still a lot of people dealing with the trauma. And I know people personally who still won't go to a movie theater or something, you know. And so there's a lot of mental trauma still going on from COVID too.
Yeah. And we were vaccinated too. And I still caught it for the third time. So it is what it is. So I won't get into that, and we're not going to discuss that tonight, but yeah, we need to sign off because I think we went way over past the time I told my wife.
Russ, thanks for having me. I know it's been a long time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
And don't wait so long to come back.
Okay. It's just been a little crazy.
No, but don't wait so long to come back. And thank you, Donald. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Al, who's not showing up right now. Thank you, Dixon. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Steve Good. And thank you for Paul, who was here. Who else am I missing? I think that was all that was here tonight. Yeah, Paul goes over to Dave Gatton's show on the CNC stuff about halfway through the show, so that's okay.
Al's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al's back. So anyway, so thank you very much, my friend. If you need any kind of scroll saw patterns, I've already put it into the thing in this, but a scroll saw wood shop, and I know that Al's put it out there in the chat. Scrollsawwoodshop.blogspot.com.
Close. Scrollsaw Workshop. No.
Workshop, yeah. Did I say wood shop?
Yeah.
Yeah. Scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com.
Yeah, I'll put it in again.
Yeah. And I put it into the information for this video tonight. So if you want free scroll saw patterns, go visit him. He's got a ton of them. He's got Mother's Day patterns, Father's Day patterns, Sister Day patterns, Brother Day patterns. You name it, he's got it.
Or if you want all of them, scroll all the way to the bottom. And I don't know how far down. For $20, you can instantly download them all. He's got a nice catalog and everything's there. I mean, guys, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And you can buy his USB stick that has every pattern that is on his site. Yes, you can.
And have it shipped to you, yes. If
you're
you don't
comfortable with the download, the instant download is exactly the same file that I send out on the USB drive. And it's a few bucks cheaper to do the download. So if you're comfortable, it's like 1.2 gigs, so it's a pretty good size file. But still, if you have a decent internet connection and you're comfortable with downloading and all that stuff, then download it. Don't buy the USB drive. And then on top of that, don't buy it, period, unless you think I'm going to die. Don't need to buy it. It's all free. Just go to my catalog.
Yeah,
but you got to download each one individually. And with the download, you get this big PDF in the front that shows every single pattern, and you of course you can search it on your website too, but you can search it right there. Anyway,
it's easier to use. You're right.
Dreadnought Workshop says not like just trying to make an entrance. Daryl Jones, Dreadnought Workshop says not like trying to make an entrance. Yeah. Hey Daryl, how you doing? I tried to meet up with him during this last time, and I don't remember if it was COVID or whatever, but there was no way I could meet up with him. But Jim is supposed to be, we're going to try to meet this weekend, but there's no way I can have him over because we got too much stuff going over. So I'm going to try to have lunch and spend a couple of hours with him. He's supposed to be here in Florida next Saturday, I believe, next Saturday or Sunday. And so I'm trying to hook up with Jim Bashir's next Saturday or Sunday. and meet up with him. But anyway, all right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it so very, very much. Thank you so much, Steve Good. Come back when you
Thanks,
can't
Steve.
stay so long. I appreciate
Steve,
it.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper. Steve.
Listen, if you're too darn busy to get out in your shop and make some sawdust,
How do you do that?
you're just too darn busy, or you don't give a crap, and you need to get out in your shop and make some sawdust.
Sing
That's
it,
all there
Russ.
is to it. So just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. I know my tone's off tonight because I'm kind of hoarse. Good night,
Good night, boys
everybody.
and girls.
Good night.
Remember,
Thank
you
you
don't
for
have to
watching.
go home, but you can stay here.
What
Nope,
Chris said.
gotta go. Gotta get out of here. Gotta see you later.